LT Deca. I'm Emma,
I'm Yihong.
and we are your president and co-president for this year. This year, we're so excited to introduce Lebanon Trail's first ever LT Deca website that we want to use to help you guys throughout this entire year.
Yeah, and so this website is to help you guys with competition and keep up to date with Deca. And the first step when it comes to competition is learning the distinctions between different events. And for that, we're going to go to your other main hub for Deca, which is deca.org. So we're going to go to high school and competitive events. Now, under the competitive events tab, we can see the four main different kinds of events. We have principals events, team decision making, individual series, and then the rest of these are all clustered under project-based events. So first we have principals events. These are individual events which are limited to only first-year Deca members. And what that basically means is that if you compete in a principals event, you'll only be competing against other Deca members who are just starting out in their competition journey. And so these are typically less competitive and a bit easier to advance. And the requirements that you have to learn to compete are a little less complicated than other events.
So for principals events, you are one participant. You will be taking one 100-question exam called the Business Administration Core Exam. And for your competitive part, you are going to be appearing before a judge for one role play, and you have 10 minutes to prepare and 10 minutes to present. Under that resources tab, if you see for our first event, you see Principles of Business Management and Administration, and you can see all the events for you to choose from. You'll see in those resources you have your guideline events, but an important part are your performance indicators, which is what you will be looking through and what your role play will consist of. Additionally, you'll see sample exams, which is that 100-question exam, and your events, which is what you will be doing with the judge.
The next type of event is team decision making. These are partner-based events, and these events are going to be competed against all Deca members regardless of years involved in Deca. So these will be more competitive and more detailed in terms of what you'll be doing. You're going to be doing the same kinds of competition structure as your principals events, but as you can see, the event types are a bit more specific, such as financial services, marketing management, and so on.
Like Yihong said, these are going to be two participants. You are going to have an exam, but it's going to be based on your career cluster exam. So if you are in business admin or if you're doing a finance team decision event, you're going to have a different career cluster. You're going to appear before a judge, but this time you have 30 minutes to prepare and you have a 15-minute interview slot.
The next event is individual series events, and like the competition title states, it's an individual event. It's basically principals events, but a bit more beefed up. You're going to be competing against all competitors, regardless of year, just like team decision. And the events are also more specific, and these will have all three tiers of performance indicators. What that means is that there are three levels of performance indicators that go by difficulty. For principals, you will have one tier only. For team decision, you'll have two, and the individual series, you'll have to learn all three performance indicators.
And like Yihong said, individual series we think of as a Principles 2.0. It's one participant again. This time you're going to have that same career cluster exam dependent on whether you're marketing, finance, business, admin, or hospitality. And like the principals events, you're only going to have 10 minutes to prepare and 10 minutes to interview.
And the main difference is between individual series and the last two events is that you will actually have to do 2 role plays in front of a judge at every single competition level. And just a quick note, whenever it says third or second for finalists, that only applies to the international level. So only if you qualify for international Deca competition will you have to do another additional role play. And lastly, the final type of event is the project-based events, which are all these different events listed down here. For example, we have project management. These events are more based on preparation ahead of competition. Whereas the previous 3 events, most of the competition is studying, and then when you get to the competition site, you will just be given a scenario and then you prep with your prep time. These, you are preparing a poster board or some sort of presentation for your judges months ahead of competition. And when you're competing, you'll simply just present your research to judges and answer their questions.
And like those requirements say, you have 1 to 3 chapter representatives. You have 20 pages of written entries. So like Yihong said, it is a lot more work ahead of time, but then you only have to do a prepared presentation to the judge, which lasts 15 minutes. Something that LT Deca that we would say to you guys is that if you are a new or incoming if you are a freshman or new member, we recommend that you guys do principals events because, like Yihong mentioned, it's only for first-year DECA members, and this gives you the best shot at competition for the year and prepares you for your first year in DECA. And then if you are a returning member, then it's just based upon whether or not you want to do those um, project-based events, or if you want to be in a team or by yourself. You guys learned a little more about the events, and be sure to go through them and see which event really fits you, and we wish you guys the best in competition.